Would everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight to the 2013-2014 installation of officers for Waukegan Masonic Lodge number 78. And thank you very much for joining us. It's a very exciting meeting for everyone of us. Especially me, yes, that's right. Brother Senior Deacon, will you escort Mrs. Christine Lang to the east, please? Brother Senior Deacon, invite the installing officers into the lodge.
Installing officers, please enter the lodge.
I'd like to introduce Worshipful Brother Tom Love as our installing marshal. Worshipful Brother Brian Wilbur as installing master. Worshipful Brother Edward Keenan, chaplain. Worshipful Brother Terry Beeling, installing secretary. Right Worshipful Brother Pat Clemens, the Paul Reed rear charge.
Brother Installing Secretary, you will announce the names of the officers appointed to govern this lodge.
Brother Richard Perez, Marshal. Brother Eugene Gross, Senior Steward. Brother Ricky Park, Junior Deacon. Worshipful Brother Michael Rookdeep, Senior Deacon. Right Worshipful Brother Richard Vanderhoff, Chaplain. Right Worshipful Brother Carl Donahue, Secretary. Worshipful Brother Michael Patterson, Treasurer. Brother Eric Solomon, Junior Warden. Brother Robert Johnson, Senior Warden. Brother Robert Lang, Worshipful Master.
Brethren of Waukegan Lodge, you have heard the names of the brethren who have been selected as officers of your lodge for the ensuing term. If any member present knows of a just cause why any of the brethren should not be installed into office, let him speak now or forever after be silent. Brother Marshall, you will present the worshipful master-elect for installation.
Brother Installing Marshal, Brother Installing Officer, I have the pleasure to present Brother Robert Lang, who has been elected Worshipful Master of Waukegan Lodge for the ensuing Masonic year.
Brother Marshall, you will place our brother at the altar to receive the benefit of prayer and take his official obligation.
Most holy and glorious Lord God, we approach thee with reverence and implore thy blessing on this brother elected to preside over this lodge, now prostrate before thee. Fill his heart with thy love, that his tongue and actions may pronounce thy glory. Make him steadfast in thy service. Give him firmness of mind. Animate his heart and strengthen his endeavors. May he teach thy judgments and thy laws, and be thou true and faithful servant. Bless him, O Lord, and bless the work of his hands. Accept us in mercy. Hear thou our prayer, and grant our earnest supplications. Amen.
So Lord of thee.
Brother Lang, you will repeat after me your official obligation. I solemnly promise, on the honor of a Mason, that in the office of Worshipful Master of Waukegan Lodge number 78, I will, to the best of my ability, strictly comply with the Constitution, regulations, and bylaws of the most worshipful Grand Lodge of ancient, free, and accepted Masons. The bylaws of Waukegan Lodge number 78. And all other ancient Masonic usages, so far as the same shall come to my knowledge. Amen. My brother, in inducting you into your office as a symbol of the commencement of your government of this lodge, I am performing a most pleasing duty. By a memorial usage in the established landmarks of Freemasonry, you are to be installed Worshipful Master of this lodge with powers and prerogatives which are of high importance and due solemnity. The good resolutions which I doubt not you have formed in your own mind, that these powers shall not be abused or perverted by you, I would gladly strengthen by a word of admonition. The very consciousness of the possession of a great power will ever make a generous mind cautious in general exercise. To rule has been the lot of many, and requires neither strength of intellect nor soundness of judgment. To rule well has been the fortune of but few, and may well be the object of an honorable ambition. It is not by the strong arm or iron will that obedience and order, the chief requisites of good government, are secured, but by holding the key to the hearts of men. The office of master is of great antiquity and respect, and is one of the highest dignities to which may aspire. Its incumbent to rule well should possess and practice several important requisites. As a man, he should be of approved integrity and irreproachable morals, freed from the dominion of hasty temper and ill-governed passions, of good repute in the world, and practicing as an example to his brethren the cardinal virtues of temperance, fortitude, prudence, and justice. As a citizen, he should be loyal to his government and obedient to its laws, prompt in the duties he owes to society, and a pattern of fidelity in all social and domestic relations. As a Mason, he should cling to the old landmarks and be sternly opposed to their infringement. Be desirous to learn and apt to teach. Be prompt to aid and relieve, and be ever mindful that though elevated for a time among his fellows, he is elevated by them, and should therefore cultivate everywhere and at all times the golden tenets of brotherly love, belief, and truth. As an officer, he should remember first of all that he is an individual Mason, sharing in that respect a common lot with his brethren, and therefore interested in the welfare of each and all. Be devoid of undue ostentation and haughty overbearing. Be accessible to all, cultivating the closest friendship and most unlimited confidence with his associate officers. Be eager to take counsel with his brethren and ready to give it. Be ready to reward good. Be devoid of favoritism and wholly impartial. Such are some of the qualifications the master should possess, and the errors he should avoid. It may be that most, if not all of us, have failed to reach this standard, but it is attainable, and be at your purpose to reach it, and be a bright and shining example to those who shall come after you. My brother, previous to your investiture, it is necessary that you should signify your assent to the ancient charges and regulations of the ancient fraternity, which point out the duty of the master of a lodge. You promise to be a good man and true, strictly to obey the moral law. You promise to be a peaceable citizen, and cheerfully conform to the laws of the country in which you reside. You promise not to be concerned in plots and conspiracies against government, but patiently to submit to the law and constituted authorities. You promise to pay proper respect to the civil magistrate, to work diligently, live creditably, and act honorably by all men. You promise to avoid private picks and quarrels, and to guard against intemperance and excess. You promise to be cautious in your behavior, courteous to your brother, and faithful to your lodge. You promise to respect genuine brethren, and to discountenance impostors, and all dissenters from the original plan of masonry. You promise to pay homage to the Grand Master for the time being, and to his officers when duly installed. To pay attention to all duties of masonry on convenient locations. You promise a regular attendance on the committees and communications of the Grand Lodge, on receiving proper notice, and to pay attention to all the duties of masonry on convenient locations. You agree to hold in veneration the original rulers and patrons of Freemasonry, and the regular successors, supreme and subordinate according to their stations, and to that countenance be given. You agree to promote the general good of society, cultivate the social virtue, and propagate the knowledge of the mystic art. You agree that no visitors shall be received into your lodge without previous notice, without due inquiry, and satisfactory evidence of their having been initiated in a regular lodge. You admit that no new lodge shall be formed without permission from the Grand Lodge, and that countenance be given to any irregular lodge, or to any person clandestinely initiated therein, being contrary to the ancient charges of Freemasonry. You admit that it is not in the power of man or body of men to make innovations in the body of masonry. These are the regulations of ancient, free and accepted masons. Do you submit to these charges and promise to support these regulations as masters have done before you?
I do.
Brother Lang, in consequence of your cheerful assent to the ancient charges and regulations of the ancient fraternity, you are now to be installed Master of Waukegan Lodge number 78, in full confidence of your care, skill, and capacity to govern the same. Brother Marshall, you will conduct the worshipful master to the foot of the day. Brother, with pleasure, I now cause you to be invested with the jewel of your office, the square. As the square is employed by operative masons to fit and adjust the stones of the building that all its parts may properly agree, so you, as worshipful master of this lodge, are employed by the symbolic meaning of the square to observe that moral deportment among the members of your lodge which should always characterize good masons. You will also receive the charter and the various books and implements used in your lodge. The Holy Bible, the Holy Bible will guide you to all truth. It will direct your path to the temple of happiness and point out to you the whole duty of man. The compasses teach us to limit our desires in every station, that rising to eminence by merit we may live respected and die rejected. The rule directs that we should punctually observe our duty, press forward in the path of virtue, and inclining neither to the right nor to the left, have eternity in view. The line teaches us the criterion of moral rectitude, to avoid dissimulation in conversation and action, and to direct our steps to the path which leads to immortality. The Book of Constitution you are to search at all times. Cause it to be read in your lodge, that none may pretend ignorance of the excellent precepts it enjoins. You also receive in charge the charter, by the authority of which this lodge is held. Wield it, my brother, with prudence and discretion. You will now receive in charge the bylaws of your lodge, which you are to see carefully and punctually executed. Place in your hands this gavel.
Or not.
An additional insignia of your rank and authority. Wield it, my brother, with prudence and discretion. I now seat you in the oriental chair and cover you with that distinction in which in this lodge it is alone your privilege to wear. Worshipful Master, behold your brethren. Brethren, behold your worshipful Master. Brother Marshall, you will now present the senior warden.
Brother Installing Master, I have the pleasure to present Brother Robert Johnson, who has been elected Senior Warden of Waukegan Lodge for the ensuing Masonic year.
Brother Johnson, you have been elected Senior Warden of Waukegan Lodge and will now be invested with the jewel of your office. The level demonstrates that we are descended from the same stock, partake of the same nature, and share the same hopes. And though distinctions among men are necessary to preserve subordination, yet no eminence of station shall make us forget that we are brothers. For he who is placed on the lowest spoke of fortune's wheel may be entitled to our regard, because a time will come, and the wisest knows not how soon, when all distinctions but that of goodness shall cease. And death, the grand leveler of human greatness, reduces us to the same state. Your regular and punctual attendance is essentially necessary. In the absence of the master, you are to govern this lodge. In his presence, you are to assist him in the government of it. Your fitness for the discharge of such important duties undoubtedly led to your selection for the office by your brethren. And it should be your duty and be your pleasure so as to act as to justify their confidence. Brother Johnson, look well to the left.
Brother Installing Master, I have the pleasure to present Brother Eric Solomon, who has been elected Junior Warden of Waukegan Lodge for the ensuing Masonic year.
Brother Solomon, you have been elected Junior Warden of Waukegan Lodge and will now be invested with the jewel of your office. The poem admonishes us to walk uprightly in our several stations, to hold the scales of justice in equal poise, to observe the just medium between intemperance and pleasure, and to make our prejudices coincide with the line of our duty. To you is committed the superintendence of the craft during the hour of refreshment. It is therefore indispensably necessary that you should not only be temperate and discreet in the indulgence of your own inclinations, but carefully observe that none of the craft convert the means of refreshment into intemperance or excess. Your regular and punctual attendance is particularly requested, and we have no doubt that you'll be ever watchful, whether at labor or refreshment, that the high 12 hour of observation does not find you with your work and that of the craft you superintend underperformed. Brother Solomon, with well to the south.
Brother Installing Officer, I have the pleasure to present Brother Michael Patterson, who has been elected Treasurer of Waukegan Lodge for the ensuing Masonic year.
Brother Patterson, you have been elected Treasurer of Waukegan Lodge and will now be invested with the jewel of your office. It is your duty to receive all monies paid into the lodge from the hands of the Secretary, to keep a just and regular account of the same. Pay them out by the order of the worshipful master and consent of the lodge. I trust that your regard for good order, I trust that your regard for fraternity will prompt you in the faithful discharge of your duties.
Brother Installing Officer, I have the pleasure to introduce Right Worshipful Brother Carl Donahue, who has been elected Secretary of Waukegan Lodge for the over 25 years.
Brother Donahue, you have been elected Secretary of Waukegan Lodge again and will now be invested with the jewel of your office. It is your duty to observe the will and pleasure of the worshipful master, to record the proceedings of the lodge proper to be written, transmit a copy of the same to the Grand Lodge when required, to receive all monies paid into the lodge, pay them over to the treasurer, taking his receipt therefore. Your good inclination to Freemasonry in your lodge will prompt you in the discharge of your duties with fidelity, and by so doing, You will merit the esteem and approval of your brethren.
Brother Installing Officer, I have the pleasure to introduce Right Worshipful Brother Richard Vanderhoff, who has been appointed chaplain of Waukegan Lodge for the ensuing Masonic year.
Brother Vanderhoff, you have been appointed chaplain of Waukegan Lodge. The Holy Bible, which is the textbook of the chaplain's calling, is the great light of Freemasonry and forever sheds its benign rays upon every lawful assemblage of ancient, free, and accepted masons. From it, we learn our duty to God, our neighbor, and ourselves. Teach us from its life-giving precepts, and you have fulfilled your sacred and important trust. It is fitting that an emblem of the sacred volume should be the jewel of your office, and with it you are now invested.
Brother Installing Officer, I have the pleasure to present Worshipful Brother Mike Rupke, who has been elected Senior Deacon of Waukegan Lodge, and Brother Ricky Parks, who has been elected Junior Deacon of Waukegan Lodge for the ensuing Masonic year.
Brother Rookie and Brother Parks, you have been elected Senior and Junior Deacons of Waukegan Lodge and will now be invested with the jewels of the office. These rods, which you will bear in the performance of your duty, are placed in your hands as symbols of your deputed authority. It is your province to attend on the master and warden and to act as their proxy in the active duties of the lodge, such as the reception of candidates into the different degrees of masonry, the introduction and accommodation of visitors, and the immediate practice of our rites. The square and compasses, as badges of your office, are entrusted to your care, not doubting your vigilance and attention. You will repair to your respective places in the lodge.
Brother Installing Officer, I have the pleasure to introduce Brother Eugene Gross, who has been appointed Senior Steward of the Waukegan Lodge for the ensuing Masonic year.
Brother Gross, you are appointed Senior Steward of Waukegan Lodge and will now be invested with the jewel and rod of your office. You are to assist the deacons and officers in performing their respective duties. And when the lodge is at refreshment, it will be your province to extend to visiting brethren such attentions as circumstances may suggest. Your regular and early attendance at our meetings is particularly requested, and will afford the best proof of zeal and attachment to the lodge. You will repair to your respective place in the lodge.
Brother Installing Officer, I have the pleasure to present Brother Richard Perez, who has been appointed Marshal of Waukegan Lodge for the ensuing Masonic year.
Brother Perez, you are appointed Marshal of Waukegan Lodge. You are invested with this baton as the appropriate symbol of your office. It is your duty to form and conduct processions of the brethren of the lodge on all public occasions, to attend to such duties in the practice of our rites as are prescribed for your office, and as the worshipful master may direct. Brother Marshal, you will marshal the marshal to the marshal's chair.
Listen, my children, and you shall hear the midnight ride of Paul Revere, who on the 18th of April of 75, hardly a man is now alive, who remembers that famous day and year in the midnight ride of Paul Revere. Kind of familiar. Those words were penned by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, which helped immortalize the name of that great patriot. But something we didn't learn in our history books, Brother Revere was also a very prominent Mason. In fact, 20 years after that ride, he put to pen a series of charges while he was Grand Master Masons of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. One was to the master, one was to the officers, and one was to the brethren. We here in Illinois have chosen to use these charges as part of our installation. Worshipful Master, this worshipful lodge, having chosen you for its master and representative, it is now incumbent upon you diligently and on every proper occasion to inquire into the knowledge of your fellows and find them daily employment, that the art which they profess may not be forgotten nor neglected. You should avoid partiality, giving praise where it is due, and employing those in the most honorable part of the work who have made the greatest advancement to the encouragement of the art. You should take care that neither your words nor actions may render your office less regarded, but your prudent and well-regulated course of discipline may give sanction to your office and to your powers. And as brotherly love is the cement of our society, so cherish and encourage it, that the brethren may be more willing to obey the dictates of Masons than you have an occasion to command. To the officers, together. And you, the officers of this worshipful lodge, should carefully assist the master in the discharge and execution of his office, diffusing light and imparting knowledge to the fellows under your care, setting aside all resentment and prejudices toward each other, and that these may be better preserved. You should carefully inquire into the character of all candidates to this honorable fraternity, and recommend none to the master who, in your opinion, are unworthy of the privileges and the advantages of Masonry. You should discharge the lodge quietly, encouraging the brethren assembled to work cheerfully, that none, when dismissed, may go away dissatisfied. To all members of the fraternity, and you, the brethren of this worshipful lodge, learn to obey the orders of your officers, committing cheerfully to their amicable decisions, laying aside all resentment and prejudices toward each other. Let your chief care be to the advancement of the society of which you have the honor to be members. Let there be a modest and emulation among you in doing good to each other. Let your actions be squared by the rules of Masonry. Let friendship flourish, and all the advantages of that title by which we distinguish each other, that we may be brothers, not only in name, but in the full import, extent, and latitude of so glorious an appellation. Finally, my brethren, as this association has been carried on with so much unity in which we gladly rejoice, so may it continue to the latest age. May your love be harmonious and reciprocal. And while these principles are uniformly supported, this lodge will be an honor to Masonry, an example to the world, and therefore a blessing to mankind. From this happy prospect, I rest assured of your steady perseverance, and conclude with wishing you all, my brethren, joy of your master, wardens, and other officers, and of your constitutional union as brethren.
Brother Marshall. You will make the proclamation.
I am directed to proclaim and do proclaim that the master, wardens, and other officers appointed and elected to govern Waukegan Lodge for the ensuing Masonic year, with the exception of the junior steward and the Tyler have been duly installed in their regular places and spots. This proclamation is made from the east, from the west, and from the south. Once, twice, and thrice. Let all take due notice and govern yourselves accordingly.
Would everyone please rise?
Almighty and everlasting God, from whom cometh every good and perfect gift, send down upon thy servants here assembled the healthful spirit of thy grace, that they may be truly pleasing to thee in all their doings. Grant, O Lord, the power of mind and great understanding unto those whom on this day have been clothed in the authority to preside over and direct the affairs of this lodge. Replenish them with the truths of masonry. Adorn them with the humility of life, that by both word and example they may truly serve thee to the glory of his name and to the advancement of our beloved institution. Amen.
So it be.
This will conclude our installation ceremony, and at this time I would like to turn it over to your worshipful master, worshipful brother from Robert White.
At this time, I would like to have Eugene Gross do the flower toss ceremony.
Thank you, worshipful. Could I please ask the officers of the Waukegan Lodge 78 to form a semicircle west of the altar? Can I have the lights, please? This side lights will be fine. That's good. The Order of Demolay teaches many beautiful lessons, but none is more important in honor and true respect for womanhood, and more especially for motherhood. It is fitting, therefore, that you are called upon here today to stand before this very altar for a few moments of special emphasis on the jewel which is given first place among those adorning the crown of youth, filial love. For my purpose now, this altar is dedicated to our mothers, whose love never fails. You may rise to positions of great influence in commercial, political, professional life. You can never reach the heights your mother sees your hope for you. You may sink to the lowest depth of infamy and degradation, but never will reach the love. The memory of it will always be in your heart. There's no man entirely base, completely vile, so utterly low that there's not only in his heart a shrine, sacred and apart to the memory of his mother's love. Were I to draw you a picture of love divine, it would not be that of a stately angel with a form that is full of grace, but that of a tired and toil-worn mother with a great and tender face. It was your mother who loved you before you were born. She cared for you and helped with you as an infancy. As you have grown less dependent, she has done the countless thoughtful, troublesome, and encouraging things, which somehow only mothers seem to know how to do. You may have accepted these attentions, more or less, as matters of course, without any conscious gratitude of your appreciation. Looking back on the years of your life, you may say, the words of a poet, my body, like your body, son, from birth is a swift thing. Compared to 1 in 20 years, of feeding you with fierce tears. But I could not make your mind and soul. My glad hand kept me whole. Your groping hand bound me to life with fruitless band. And all my living became a prayer. For all my days built up despair. There's joy on feet that try behind, that you in aspiring ways to find. Think you that life can give you pain, which does not stab in you again. Think you that life can give you shame, which is not in our kind of way. And you can do no real thing, which fears me not, for the poison sin. For all that I have done, remember me in life, O son. Keep that proud body, fine and fair. My life is monument to bear. For my life, make no one weep. For my life, will no one cheat. And see you give no woman scorn, but that dark night when you were born. The flowers which you see here on our altar are symbols of that mother's love. The rest, the mother who's still living. And the wife, the mother who is gone. Far in the dim recesses of our heart, where all is hushed and still, she keeps a shrine. This here she kneels from prayer, while from above, long shafts of light upon her shine. Her heart, flower fragrant as she prays, or quiver as a candle flame. Each prayer takes wing to bless the world and work them all, to lead the rhythm of our candles here. My brother, I'd like each of you to choose a flower from this altar. If your mother has passed over to the other shore, which is what flower, keep it ever sacred to her memory. Every time you see it, strengthen you anew in your duty to live worthy of her hopes and aspirations for you. If your mother still lives to bless your life, you'll choose the red flower. When you go home, you'll give this to your mother. Tell her that it is our recognition of God's best gift to a man, his mother's love. Someday you'll find that flower, I know not where, perhaps in her Bible or prayer, or some other sacred place, a silent witness to what night this night, silent witness to what this night has meant is beyond the comprehension of any son. My brother, you'll please each take a red or white flower from our altar. No more can ever be asked of you than so that you aspire to live worthy of your mother's love. Thank you.
this time, I would like to introduce my family in attendance, my lovely wife, Christine. My son, Jacob. My other one, Brian, with his girlfriend, Paula. And my mother, Millie. My mother-in-law, Jan, and father-in-law, Harold. At this time, I'd like to turn. Robert Johnson, do you have anybody, brother, senior warden, do you have anybody you would like to?
Yeah. At this time, I'd like to introduce my wife, Corey, who is my son, Griffin, my son, Emmett, and my son, Elliot, and my mom, Debbie. I'd like to introduce my brother, Junior Ward.
Well, tonight I'm here by myself. I would love to introduce my wife, but she had to work this evening. Would Treasurer like to welcome anybody to the lodge?
My wife is not unable to be here tonight, but I'd like to welcome all the brethren that came. Brother Carl.
Also, my wife wasn't able to be here, but I'd like to get a round of applause because the installing officers this evening were all doing it for the first time. They did a great job.
President, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce my family.
It's a wonderful evening. I'd like to introduce my beautiful wife of 35 years, Robin. And my daughter, Kristen.
Good evening. I'd like to introduce my wife, Patricia, for 33 years. She'll say 34, that's definitely. And my daughter, Lori. Her husband, Art, my son.
I don't have any family, but I do have my family from Des Moines with me here tonight. It's Tom and Tanisha.
First of all, I'd like to introduce my family, my wife Elizabeth of 50 years, my daughter Laura and her husband Louis, my children Elizabeth, Joy, Gracie, and Laura. Emily and her husband Don Capri.
First of all, if I may, really quickly, I forgot to introduce my good friend Kristen Dowd and his wife Sarah and their baby to come.
Would all the past masters of Waukegan Lodge and 1027 please rise? introduce yourself and give your gift.
Terry Bailing, past master, Waukegan 78, Masonic year 2005.
Edward Keenan, past master 2010, 2011.
Brian Wilbur, past master, Waukegan Law 78, 2009.
Pat Schumacher, past master, Waukegan 78, 2010.
Your voice of the last year, every Sunday night at 7:15. Mike Rookie, Waukegan Lodge number 78, 2013.
Michael Patterson, 2008.
Tom Love, 2000. 1970 and 1991.
Artie Evans, Waukegan Lodge 78 of 1983 and 87.
Ron Gardell, Anchor Arc Lodge 1027. Whoa.
Austin Kelly, Waukegan 1027, 2001, 2007, 2008.
Scott Capsule, Anchor Arc Lodge, 2010 and 2011.
Brother Marshall, you will form a receiving line in the east.
That was fun. We're all outside watching it.
Right face.